Hello, everyone. Today I have Regina. She's stand-up comedian, but what makes me very excited to talk with her is that she is a mother, she is a lover, she is a teacher. So I'm just so excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
So do you make your students laugh all the time? Are you like the funny teacher for your students?
Yes, I try to incorporate humor in my lessons and funny voices and things like that. They enjoy it. I can't say that they laugh all the time because we do have still a lot of work to do, but I try to make them laugh whenever possible.
Okay, so what do you teach exactly?
I teach English as a second language, or we call it English for speakers of other languages.
Wow.
And I teach at the elementary level.
Okay, so you have students from all around the world.
Yes, yes, and theoretically they could be from anywhere in the world. I happen to have more of a Latin American population and then Pacific Islander population where I live and where I teach.
What does it mean to you? Like, do you feel that when you teach English, is there something that means to you in what you do?
Oh, absolutely. I've always had a heart for welcoming people to the country and to help them feel more at home. And even from grade school and high school and college, I would befriend the kids who were from another place. And I wasn't the only one, of course, but thankfully, but I would always try to help them feel welcome. And so to me, that's just part of what I love to do, is to help people to feel like they are home and they have a connection with someone, and to help them to learn the language, which is a big part of having a connection. And even if like parents, I help and advocate for the parents in the community, and a lot of them don't speak the language, but they're trying to learn. And so then, but I can also speak and communicate with those that speak Spanish. That's my second language. Spanish is my second language. I probably said too much.
No.
You only asked it. Okay.
But when you say that Spanish your second language, to what extent? Because some people, they know two words in Chinese and they are like, Chinese is my second language. So to what extent?
I actually am fluent in Spanish. I'm not a native speaker, of course, as I say, it's my second language, but I speak fluently, and I can interpret, I can translate, I make calls, I take calls, and I can do documents, and I've interpreted in medical situations. Before I became a teacher, I interpreted at the hospital here in town on an on-call basis. And so, yeah, I'm fluent. But I don't have the same ease of speaking as a native speaker, but pretty fluent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. Have you ever tried to do comedy in Spanish?
No, I never have. I've tried writing, and I have written a few things, a few jokes in Spanish, but I still would feel so very weird about trying to put it on stage, because humor is, well, you know, because you speak more than one language, humor is just so, I don't know how to say it. It's like the most advanced level is humor, I think, in a second language. Humor has to be like the highest in understanding it, because there's the cultural nuances and there's language and there's timing, and not that I couldn't, I just feel self-conscious about it. So I think that's something I would like to try. I haven't done it yet, and I don't think I would have had the opportunity to get on stage in Spanish, maybe through Zoom though. So that would be kind of fun to try.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a Spanish open mic, but I got you because I only have one Arabic friend, and maybe he's the only person I communicate with him in Arabic. And I try to say my jokes to him. They are not even joke anymore. And I would ask you this: if you have a joke in English and you're trying to write the joke in Spanish, how do you write word to word, or do you try how you, because you say you have some?
Yeah, no, actually, in the way that I write, I don't, well, so far, I haven't really translated my jokes, but the times that I did try to write some jokes in Spanish, I just started speaking Spanish and recording myself on my phone. And so that's how I do a lot of my jokes, is I just like to talk, because that's how I feel like my funniest personality comes out, is when I'm just kind of BSing with friends, you know? And so I'll just kind of put it in my head that maybe I'm talking to someone. And so then I was just trying to say it in Spanish and say some things that but I would, when I translate, so if I go and translate a joke of mine, which I could do, it wouldn't be hard to actually just translate it, but I wouldn't do it word for word, because I would have to think about what would be the funniest way to say that in Spanish, and how to get the punchline in the right spot. And that word, that's the funniest word, because the language could be reversed. So it may be a little bit of a different joke, or you may have to, you know, how we mess with the grammar, where it's not always perfect grammar in a joke. It's, you know, so you just have to change it up a little to make it still funny, I think. But like I said, I've never been in front of an audience doing a joke in Spanish. That's my next, conquer that level. That will be my next goal, maybe.
Isn't it weird how languages also makes it different?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It really is.
Do you have an idea, like, because you teach the English language, you know to speak Spanish, so in general, what's your thought about language? Like, what's language?
What is language?
Where did it come from?
Well, above all, just the need to communicate. And so I guess from the very beginning, you know, hieroglyphics and cave drawings, and then starting with the very most basic building blocks, and it's not even just oral, but body language. That's a huge part of it. So I think that can bridge a lot of those gaps too, when we're talking about a second language or a third or fourth language, and using visuals, lots of visuals. So, but just communication. Language is communication.
Yeah, and also how weird is it, like, that everyone has different accent and different languages, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Because so for me, I think that we really don't know where we came from. And I think that everything we know, or at least everything I know, might be wrong. So, or how about you? Like, are you like confident? Do you have one belief, or you admit that everything you know might be wrong?
Well, I think that's probably the highest level of wisdom you can achieve is to you may have your beliefs, but you also realize that you could be wrong. I think that's wisdom right there. So yeah, yeah, I have my beliefs, but I also feel like that doesn't mean that everybody else is wrong either. So I think that there is a lot of truth in the world. Nobody has their no single human being knows everything, right?
Yeah.
We all have some truth in that we're aware of, and I think only somebody who was really arrogant would think that they know everything. So.
Yeah, because for me, coming from a place where almost everyone are married to one idea, which is God, the prophet, heaven or hell, which it could be right, but being that person and living in that country, for example, in Yemen, people are not like in the US where like you cannot have a church. There is only the mosque in the whole country. So it's like there is one belief, one idea. So just for me now, it's interesting and it's also fascinating to talk to people when now I think like we really don't know where we come from. I also like the fact that I didn't know that you teach English, and I don't know why, but I feel that the teachers that are trying to teach the language for people to come and feel home and feel are like I think this kind of teachers are the nicest. No, because it shows me that you are against racism. You are welcoming people to come to your country or where you live, and that's just show a good personality.
Thank you.
Do you feel that way? Do you feel that also makes you happy in everyday life?
Yes. I mean, that's a huge part of my life, and I agree with you on that. I feel like that's what we're here for, is to help others. And if you can see past a lot of the things that other people are hateful or hurtful to others and just try to help someone, I think that's the highest calling.
But in your opinion, what makes some people wants to do what you do and some people are totally against it? Like some people would be like, they don't want to help. They think that they just have different thoughts. So what do you think makes, and also, as I told you, like we grow up good and bad, devil and angels, even that's how we were. So what do you think makes people go to different sides?
I think overall, I think probably ignorance and fear are the top two things. And I say ignorance in just in the plainest sense of the word is that they either don't know or they don't want to know all of the realities or struggles that someone may be facing. And then fear, because perhaps someone has told them that they should fear.
Okay.
Foreigners, outsiders, or others. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, and how do you think people can be more educated, not to be more ignorant? and just to change?
Well, I think number one, we have to try to have compassion with each other. And because if someone were to just say, oh, well, you're stupid, or you're this, or you're that, that's not going to help anyone. So if possibly they could have an experience to sort of show them how to, I don't know. And I mean, that's a hard question, but I feel like people just need to really empathize with each other and have compassion towards each other and listen to one another. If that were possible to stand in someone else's shoes. And I mean, I wish I had the answer for that, because I've been trying to get through to people, but I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not a must, so it's fine. So now when we come to your comedy, so now, like, I like that you try to teach people the language to come to the country. That's what is it associated with your comedy or with the jokes you make? Do you like to make fun feel home as well?
Well, I haven't, I mean, I'm still so new at it. I haven't written a lot of jokes about what I do yet. I do have maybe a few thoughts on some misinterpretations that have happened, that maybe I have messed up the language of trying to speak my second language in Spanish. And so then I'll try to incorporate those at some point. But yeah, I have not done a whole lot of material about my job yet.
So what's your
something I'd like to explore?
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. What's your premises about? Where do you bring them from?
Well, it's mostly just my life experiences. And I would say the very first things that I started to write jokes about are some of the things of my embarrassing moments in life. I tend to be kind of a clumsy person at times. And that's putting it nicely. I've been okay so long as I don't get on anything with two wheels. Yeah. I'm okay. I can hit. If it has four wheels, like a car, I'm good. I won't do rollerblades. Yeah. I also like to talk about motherhood, and I've had a few jokes about being a little bit socially awkward. When I say socially clumsy, I'm writing some jokes about that, because sometimes I'll tend to just stick my foot in my mouth, or so to speak, I'll just get my words mixed up and say the wrong thing. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not as funny, but yeah. And childbirth, I talk about childbirth. I have a set about puberty, which I've only performed in public once, but I bombed because it was an open mic at a bar, and I guess they didn't really want to hear about my first period or stuff like that. I like to talk about childhood, and yeah.
Yeah. So before before you get into comedy and you decide that you want to do comedy, what makes you do this step? And do you feel like from before you are always funny, or?
So what made me take that step to get into comedy? Well, I've always loved comedy. So growing up, I loved watching stand-up comedy on Comedy Central, and Seinfeld and Ellen DeGeneres. They were some they were my favorites, at least that I remember. And I never, in all these years, never had the courage to try it. And then it was towards the end of 2019, I was having a lot of stress and anxiety in my personal life. And of course, things with the world haven't been so handy dandy and all that good stuff. So I was just having major anxiety, and middle of the night, I would wake up sometimes having like an anxiety moment, and I couldn't go back to sleep. And the only thing that I could do was to sit up and try to write jokes and make it fun of whatever was stressing me out. And I didn't get a lot of sleep that way, but that's how I started writing jokes, and decided March of 2020 to do my first open mic, stand-up open mic. And it was the very same week. I did it 2 times, the very same weekend. And then that following Friday, everything shut down. So timing. Comedy is all about timing. So yeah, and then I didn't do anything with it for like a long time. And then October, I found my first Zoom class of that year. And then I started doing classes on Zoom. And then I joined jokezoom.com. And then I've been to New York a couple of times. And so that's where I really got my start, was like right at the beginning of the pandemic.
That's crazy. And too many places are closed because of COVID, or too many places even shut down. But so you in a way, like, do you generate your materials from funny things that happen to you, or you think it's funny, or also from things that made you stress or haunted you? Because what I understood is that you do generate materials from both.
Mm-hmm. Yes, from both. And I don't like to do a lot of the material. Like I don't do political material really. Not that I'm opposed to doing that someday, but it's just not part of what I like to put on stage. But things that stress me out and in my life, and things that have happened to me. I actually had started writing my life story about 10 years ago. And I started out just writing all of the embarrassing moments and things that I've done in life that I thought were funny, and wrote them in a story form. And then, so a lot of that I've taken and turned into jokes or shorter stories to try to make them more like comedy. Yeah, my life story, I titled it The Clumsy Memoirs. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's
I never
funny. So you wanted to say something?
Sorry, no. Yeah, like one of the things, I'll just give you an example. One of the things is that learned how to ride a bike because I kept falling off so much, and I got hurt all the time. And so I basically just stopped trying to ride a bike. And I kind of learned, I just was so bad at it that I would always fall down. Like, yeah. I could ride around the block and then I'd be like, fine. I'm like, I can do it. I know how to ride a bike. And then I'd hit a rock and then I'd be on the pavement. And so I gave up. I was like,
how long did it take you?
Oh, I don't know. I remember being embarrassed to still trying to be learning when my dad was teaching me, and when a neighbor kid saw me in like grade school, like in 5th grade or something. And now, I mean, and I was just like, that was the most humiliating, embarrassing secret that I had. Cause I thought like I was so ashamed, you know, and even there was a bike trip in my 5th grade, and it was supposed to be like this big fun reward, and everyone was like, we're going on a bicycle trip, and I kept trying to learn, and I was like, I can't do it. I kept telling the teacher I don't have a bicycle, or I'd make up excuses, you know. And then she kept trying to help me, like, I can find you a bicycle. I'm like, shut up, stop helping me. But so I rode around the block the last time I ever tried as a kid. I rode around the block. My dad was right there. The neighbor was like, learning how to ride a bike, huh? And I heard that. And then I crashed as soon as he said that, right in front of him on his yard. And then he said something like, well, I guess we still need some practice, and then went back in. And after that, I was just done trying to learn how to ride a bike. So I actually did do it again as an adult, and I bloodied up my knee. I still have the scar. So after that, I didn't get badly injured. It was just, why? I don't need to. So.
Sorry, did you like fall down?
Mm-hmm. And the bike was kind of expensive, but it turned out to be a scam, because it was like, I didn't fall that hard, but it like folded up, and it was like so cheap aluminum. My parents paid like $200 for it, so they ended up returning it. So anyway.
Well, that's on your joke.
Yeah, I've written it, but I haven't performed it. So it's not really a joke yet. It's kind of getting there, but it's more of a story right now. But
you know, for me now, I go to almost open mics every day, and I would do like maybe 4 a day or 3 open mics just online. And so I have this strategy where at the beginning of the week, I have my jokes, but they won't be as perfect when I act them. So I have the open mics at the beginning of the week. I have everything written down in my calendar. So I find out that the open mics at the beginning of the week, I'm not that sharp. But I will not give up on these jokes, and I will try. Tuesday they get sharper, Wednesday they get sharper. By the time I come to the weekend open mics, I'm so sharp, or Friday. And I find another thing that I wake up in the morning and I do, let's say like in Friday come, I feel sharp. So not the first mic will be good. Still, even the first mic will be no, but then I will go to the second, the third. I don't know. I don't think I understand it 100%, but I feel like our body and the memory needs us to work in a smart way, not hard, but smart. And not, it's very hard to find the balance between working, between like exhausting yourself and being lazy. But if you can find the right balance, because if you work too hard, it's bad. It's as bad as you being lazy if you overwork yourself. So how do you manage this in comedy and in your life in general, with teaching, with your kids? How do you always put that balance?
Yeah, it is difficult. I wish I could get in as many mics as you do. But I just get to as many as I can. I do a class at least once a week, and I do a joke Zoom meeting once or twice a week. and work on writing. And then I'll usually make it to 2 or 3 mics, open mics in a week online. And then tonight I actually have one in person, which is not very common in my area because I live in a small area in Kansas. So when we have open mics, it's kind of a big deal.
Oh.
A lot of people will, be excited for open mics here, and which I know they are in other places too. But when you're in a big area where there's so many comedians, you have to compete for stage time. But it's kind of the good thing, I guess, about being in a smaller area is when there is an open mic, they generally don't limit you as much.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get a little more time, or they're happy that you're there because there are only a few comedians. And so I guess between that, a few open mics online every week, and then I get 1 or 2 a month if I'm lucky in person. And so and then whatever classes that I can do, and then I just kind of work it in as much as I can. And then after the kids are in bed is when I'll kind of do my writing, or first thing in the morning. Like today I got up and did some writing this morning early, 6 a.m. my time. But a lot of times I'll be up at 4 or 5 in the morning doing some joke writing and stuff like that. So I just kind of try to fit it in. And then sometimes I'll have my little, like when I'm out here with my kids, I'll have my little earbuds that I'll stick in my ear, and I'll be listening to one of my sets so that I can kind of mentally either memorize or rehearsing and rewriting.
So when you say that you wish to get to open mics as much as I do, well, for me, I have made comedy and open mics #1 priority. So of course, and work, but I'm lucky enough to have work. My work is online, so I can work from my laptop and almost anytime. So I would try to make it to work to, of course, pay rent and survive. Joke, like if I'm in open mics, I'm not gonna be like eating or paying rent. So that's my 2 priority in my life. Like I cut all my friends. I almost have 0 friends. I don't go anywhere. I stay awake also at night. So I'm just dedicating everything for comedy. And talking about listening to your sets, that's what I told you, that you should find what works for you. Like, it's weird to talk, but I live next to the beach. So there is one beach right in front of my house. And when I get to that beach, there is a very beautiful spiritual path to another beach, which is like 1 hour walk. But it's like,
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, I wouldn't say it's mountain, and I wouldn't say it's sand. It's something like, I don't even have the right word in English for it. That's how. But anyway, it's a nice path to walk on. Like, it's comfortable, and you can hear the waves. And I like to walk at night. I like to go in the morning, but there is no lights, especially at night. You can see the sky, the stars. I like to go walk every day, like for 2 hours. I would do it 2 times and listen to my set every day for 2 hours, but I make it fun. I also listen to them in the gym. If I listen to my set and I'm inside my house or inside the room, I won't be as conscious and as a present. I feel like what's around you make different on how, or even the ideas that come. Like, I feel like if I'm walking on an area which is spiritual, I see the sky, I hear the waves, when I listen to my records or when I listen to the workshop room that I work with the comedians, there are more quality ideas coming out when I'm breathing. What's your take on that?
Well, I love that idea. I mean, wow, I wish I had a little ocean area or a beach to sit on. That sounds just gorgeous, Maud. But when you speak about the breathing and stuff, I think that's very important. And that's something that I used to do a lot, but I haven't I haven't done that as much lately. I really do enjoy meditating and stuff like that. And I think just being, self-aware and sort of taking everything with a acceptance is important. And so, yeah, I agree. Take in your surroundings that can get you maybe more in that natural state of mind where you are your more authentic self. We're getting really deep here, so
I'm sorry.
Are we frozen?
I don't know if that's my
Or am I frozen?
Okay, we are back now. Hopefully it's not. I don't know. That's weird. Sometimes when I'm in the middle of the podcast, I'm like, please don't like to the
For a moment I thought you were just like
I didn't hear the last part you say, so if you want to repeat it so I can follow up.
Well, basically just like said that I agree that when you're doing the breathing and you have that beautiful place to do that you can be more yourself, your more authentic self.
Yeah, what I want to follow up with is, I don't think someone can teach comedy. Like for example, if you want to be a doctor or if you want to be a mechanic, there are some steps, like you can go and they tell you like you have to do this and this and this, and then for sure you can innovate and make more. But comedy, there are no like steps, like how to fix a car or how to do surgery. You can go and learn how to do surgery. You have to do this, but you cannot teach someone how to do a Netflix special. It's so what I mean by that is that, yes, it's crazy, especially for me. I didn't know that there is comedy. Like you are telling me when you were young, you were a fan of comedy. Me, till the age 20, I didn't know that there is really comedy or it exists. Like people don't know, which is surprising to some people in the US, because I feel like some people, they live in the US and that they think that's the reality of all the world, from comedy and from everything. But not to go so far, what I want to say is you need to find exactly your ways, how to write your materials, and I think other things help. For example, to work out, I feel like this helps my comedy so much, which is, I cannot see it in a direct way, but it does. To eat healthy, I don't know, maybe I'm weird and I'm more open for you to tell me no. But I even feel like when I eat healthy, when I eat every day, because that's fuel, it becomes fuel and it goes to your brain. So I try to do as much as things that I feel it helps comedy, which even not in direct way.
That's interesting. Well, there's one thing I'll disagree with on, and that is I think that you can teach it, but like you said, you can't teach someone necessarily to do a Netflix special, but that's like going from an infant to being an athlete in the Olympics, right? So there's a lot in between there. So
Mm.
there's definitely really good comedy teachers, which I've had the benefit of. But I think, and maybe what you're saying is a little different, but you know, I've done American Comedy Institute, and I've done a few other classes, but I think there is somewhat of an innate sense of humor where, and that may be what you're referring to, like something that you really are already pretty talented at making your friends laugh, making your family laugh, because you just kind of have this, you love to laugh. If you love to laugh, you're probably going to be able to make other people laugh. Not all the time, but you can teach technique as far as like the rule of three and certain things about comedy. You can teach all sorts of theory and stuff like that. But at some point, you're absolutely right that people will have to take it from there. Once you learn the basics and once you learn certain aspects and you get to a certain point, you have to kind of make your own path, and nobody's going to do it for you, right? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah,
on that level?
Yeah, I think what you say makes sense, that like there are some okay, so with time I feel that people know more. So what people had access about comedy, like let's say 30 years ago, your parents, we have more access now. So you don't know what's in the future will be. Because for me, I think comedy, do you think there is formula on making people laugh? Do you think like there is, or I don't like, because I feel like we are chemicals, and when you make people laugh, you are increasing their dopamine. So basically,
Yeah.
what you are trying to do when you are talking to people, you are trying to formulate and make their body increase the dopamine level, which is we see people laughing, but we are actually trying to increase another chemical, so this laughs can come out. So what you are saying is that I don't think there is one answer, or someone will teach you how you can increase, or do you think they will be able to teach people more in a couple of years?
Well, I mean, there is, I think, a lot of value in learning the methods and the techniques, but I also don't think that you could just line some pieces of paper up and say, put a joke in this formula or put words in this formula and then you'll be funny. Because like you said, I mean, people have to work at it. They have to have their own style. They have their own sense of what's going to be funny. But what was the question again?
So what I'm trying to get from you is, there are no way I can write you words or jokes, or maybe there is way, like, is if I can write you this joke and I tell you, look, this is going to make everyone laugh if you say it. And someone who's able to write and say like, look, because also you have to act the joke and you have to find this, like,
yeah.
There is nobody who will come and tell you how you can act to make this joke funny, because nobody knows. You have to find it.
I see what you're saying. Yes. Well, absolutely. I totally agree on that, because like if someone were to write a joke and hand it to me, and if I weren't a comedian, because I'm hilarious, if I weren't a comedian, and someone just handed me a joke and said, here, say this, people may or may not laugh, because you have to have the timing and the intonation the delivery, punchline, and physical aspect of acting it out. So even if someone writes a joke for another person, they still have to rehearse that and know how to deliver a joke. Because, you know, there are comedians that have people write for them, but yeah, if someone has like zero clue about how to tell a joke or how to deliver a joke, and you just, they steal somebody's joke notebook and get up on stage and try to use it, they'll obviously bomb. It has to be your personal material, has to be coming from your heart, and has to be well delivered. Yeah.
Exactly. Here, so do you think in couple years there will be more access to new techniques that we don't know now that will make it easy for someone to, or will make it faster for someone to know how to deliver? Like there will be some rules on delivering, there will be some guidance that will make you get faster to your maximum funny and acting.
No, I don't. Not new. I mean, you can always discuss. I think so many things have already been written, and so many classes and so many techniques that are already out there that are excellent resources. And I think those things already exist. I don't think there's really going to be anything brand new that's going to come out. There may be variations of books written, and there may be more excellent resources created, but some variation of it is already out there, almost, no matter what it is. I really, really enjoy a program that I bought a while ago and haven't looked back at for a while. It's called Killer Stand Up. I think the guy's name was Steve Roy, I believe, something like that, but I don't remember the last name, but
Okay.
First name is Steve. But part of what he talks about is saying that at least 50 to 90% of what makes a joke funny is just that it's coming from your acting it out. How are you doing it how are you when you're funny with friends and family? And then you should try to recreate that feeling and that attitude, you know, when you're just joking around with your buddies and you're not really trying to be too jokey and you're just making people crack up just by BSing. And that's a big part of it. I also like Steve Rosenfield has a really good book, Mastering Stand-Up. I met him when I went to New York, and he signed my book, and he has a lot of techniques, and he touches on all the different kinds of stand-up and then how to get good and how to really hone your craft. But the overall message is that it's hard work. Nobody just can read a book and then I'm like, I got it. You know, you have to put in the work still, no matter what. But teachers and mentors and people in my life, like Rob Toffee with jokezoom.com as well. And I really love that community and helping each other write and all of that stuff. And I'm sure there's probably somebody that I'm going to end up forgetting. But it's not like I'm accepting an Oscar or anything here. I'm just a comedian from Kansas. So
Yeah. So what do you think is the most challenges that face comedians in order to get to be what we are talking about?
Well, honestly, it really depends, I think, on the comedian. I'd say all comedians in general, starting out, we're going to have the challenge of getting stage time, regardless of where you live. I I live in Kansas. So for me, being on Zoom has been more access to mics and meeting the people that I know in the community who are wonderful. And Comedy Therapy New Jersey is another one that I've enjoyed working with. But then I would say, yeah, stage time, just accessibility. New comics have to work for so hard for so long with just basically spending your own money just to even get to a show, not getting paid anything for years, having to drive hours, maybe not being in the safest of situations, which is more of a risk for women comedians than for men by a lot. And so that's why you don't see as many female comedians even today. I think even in 2022, in spite of, I mean, like, take the pandemic out of the equation, because there are a lot of places like Kansas City, Missouri, where it's like business as usual most of the time. Like, it's like, what pandemic, or in the South. I mean, there may be a few more precautions being taken in some of the places, but in many of them, it's just business as usual. And you're still seeing the same ratios of either no female comedians or one, or, one or two if you're lucky. And so that, and I think there's just so many. I think there's just so many people who want to do comedy, but it's not enough. I think we need more comedians still in the world. So yeah, I think access, and then just having the guts not to get discouraged after just all of the time that it takes, and getting through a bomb, and still being willing to go back to do more. I think just having the courage and the desire to keep going is also a big barrier that a lot of people just give up.
Yeah, it's crazy how we like, human brain is very like attractive to negativity, which is weird. That what crumble us the most, what slow us down the most, is what our brain is attracted to the most and try to bring. So I think there is big benefit of learning how our body works and brain. So if you want to be like comedian, or if you want to do whatever you want, you know how to deal with hard days, and you just go through it. Otherwise, I feel like it's hard. So for me, I do comedy because I think that comedy is an escape for me. Like, I feel like this is my escape, not just because that's why I'm putting everything around comedy, and comedy is priority, because I do it like my life depends on it, because I feel that this is my escape. For, I would say, two parts, but there are too many roads come under these two parts, but I will give you the big two parts. So the first part is an escape for me, just to be happy mentally. And, I love to write comedy. I love to perform. I just love it. So I feel like could be an escape from bad moods, like just to be happy person, also including the other things that I do, like working out, hopefully traveling, doing. And the other thing is escape financially, which is as important. Quality life. Like, I feel like I have limited life in Earth, and the quality of it will depend on if I will be able to do the escape, right? So that's why so how about you? How would you picture it, or how would you tell me about yourself with comedy?
Like, why do I do it? Or
do you think you have the same two reasons like me, which is financially and also for myself to be happy and to have something that it's my passion? It's healthy, I think.
Yeah, I would say very similar reasons. I think for me, with the happiness factor of it, it really does help me with anxiety to do comedy. And even though it doesn't take away worries and it doesn't really fix things, but it does help me to feel happier when I can make jokes out of things. And then an unexpected thing was just to find that community. I honestly, I didn't even expect how many friends and connections and people that are just amazing, amazing people that I have met through doing comedy. And it is just so much fun. I don't think I've ever had as much fun in my entire life as when I got to even come to New York City and do mics and do shows with those friends and with those people that I've met and get to meet them in real life. It is just the most incredible experience and really a dream come true, because I had been doing comedy for, I'm going to say, even though I did my first open mic in March of 2020, I really didn't actually get started till October of 2020 with doing classes and stuff. So I had been doing stand-up and classes for not even a year the first time I went to New York. And so, like you said, I feel like life is too short not to follow your dreams. And I have held back on doing so many things because of risk and because of fear and because of financial reasons and being a mom and being a teacher. And I thought that this type of dream was pretty much over for me before I even began. I used to want to be an actress. I used to want to be a singer. And then I never pursued any of those things. And then I just got so depressed about that because I thought I was too old. And then, you know, I'm not that old, because then I found this inspiration with people in their 60s and 70s and even in their 80s that are doing it for the first time. And I was like, if they have the courage to branch out and do that, then I have no excuse. And
yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
That's why I love
it's just been, yeah. And no, you're fine. It's just been so incredible. So yeah, for me, it's an escape. I like it. I like that. And then but it's also, I don't even want to necessarily say that it's completely like I'm escaping reality, because in some ways it feels more real. To me, it's more reality than I've ever been, because I'm speaking my truth. And there's freedom in that. So many things that I would have, even if it's not like that big of a deal, you know, if I'm just talking about how I fell off my bike and I gave up on it or whatever, like that's not that big of a deal. But I'll talk about super personal things and super embarrassing things sometimes. And then you just own it and you feel like it doesn't have a hold on you anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You just get up there and tell them about that time that you peed your pants or you fell off the bike or you barfed on the Ferris wheel, which did happen to me. And I just told everybody.
Yeah.
And then you make people laugh. And it's like, nobody could embarrass you with it. I just got up here and said it myself. Everybody, let's laugh. Laugh with me, not at me. Or do both. I don't care, as long as you're laughing. So I don't care. You can laugh at me so long as you're laughing.
Yeah, that's really cool. I feel that as well. And then these things become, you score with these things. Like instead of they're bothering you, now you score. And I like, so this is just an example. they say if you are, for example, driving a car and you had to take left, but you go right for like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. When you realize that you are doing wrong, should you stop the car and go down and cry, or continue driving, or should you reverse and come back? And that's what most people keeps like giving just excuses that it seems to me that this person is still driving the wrong way, or he stopped the car and he's down and crying. So I don't know, I feel like sometimes when you give examples, like although it's funny, but it makes more sense out of the...
Yeah, I really like that example. Absolutely. It's never too late.
Yeah. I don't know, we've been doing this for almost 1 hour, which is, I'm so happy. And it was just, one thing I like about this podcast is that before this 1 hour, you were different person, like in my perspective. Then when I just talk to you, especially comedians, with your jokes or everyone's jokes, there is exaggeration. You don't know what, like, it's acting. So when you sit down and then you just talk with the person, you kind of put more also perspective and understanding. I learn a lot because we just have different experience, so just by talking. So with all that being said, I'm just so thankful that you give me this opportunity.
Thank you, Muad. I appreciate the opportunity as well.
Yeah, so if I hope I didn't cut you, or you want to say something, or...
No, you're wonderful. It was so much fun. I really appreciate the experience.
So now,
thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So do you use your Instagram, Facebook to, like, do you try to post every day? Do you try to make funny things?
Oh, I haven't. Oh, I have them. I won't say that I've been posting every day or that I have a lot of funny things on them yet. But that's also a goal of mine. I'd like to get more of my social media presence going out there. Regina W Comedy. I'll plug it.
That's cool. So that's your website.
Yeah, Regina W Comedy on Instagram and Facebook, and I will eventually get a TikTok going as well. I have an account, but I haven't been posting stuff. So just one more thing, I'd like to put things on, but maybe I'll start getting some little clips together and throw them on there. So
that's great. No, I'm so thankful again, and that was just so great. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
That was cool. Bye-bye.
Bye.